So now it's time for a Dharma talk. I'll share my words. Appreciate your attention, or your wholehearted attention. I hope it's helpful and encouraging to you. Take what is helpful and leave aside the rest. So before this was lunch, before that was Zazen, and before that was Samu, and before that was Zazen. Yeah, but with the mind of practice, it's all one thing. There's no gap. So I want to appreciate this continuous practice. I mentioned it a few times this morning. This continuous practice, just to appreciate it together, bring it up in your awareness as something to appreciate. So I was planning to do my Dharma talk today on this nice teaching from Master Menz on thought, emotion, actually. And then I started just really deepening into this, the richness of this continuous practice, which kind of popped out this morning. And then I, over the lunch break, I did some digging into Dogen, because I knew Dogen has a fascicle on continuous practice. So I kind of jumped in, and I was really digging it. So here it is. I'm going to share it with you. And then I'm also going to try to wind around, it's all the same thing, to Menzan as well. Dogen is a fascicle. It's called Gyoji, fascicle of the Shobogenzo. And it's translated continuous practice, okay? So here's the first paragraph. On the great road of Buddha ancestors, there is always unsurpassable practice, continuous and sustained. It forms the circle of the way and is never cut off. Between aspiration, practice, enlightenment, and nirvana, there is not a moment's gap. Continuous practice is the circle of the way. This being so, continuous practice is unstained, undivided, not forced by you or others. The power of this continuous practice confirms you as well as others. It means your practice affects the entire earth, the entire sky in 10 directions. Although not noticed by others or by you, it is so. This beautiful expression and very encouraging. We divide our lives up into these stages, right? We divide our years into stages. We divide our days into stages. And then we become very invested in the beginnings and endings of the stages and what we're getting out of them and what they're leading to. A lot of past and future thinking associated with these stages very naturally, right? And of course, there's some truth to this. The stages begin and end. But at a bigger scale, everything just keeps going on. The world, the cosmos, the universe, life force just keeps going on. Even when the body dies, the energy, the life force, dissipated, moves into other elemental formations. It never ends. This is the great road of the Buddhists, the great road. On the great road of Buddha ancestors, first line of Gyoji, there is always unsurpassable practice, continuous and sustained. Your practice is giving your full attention, your best attention, to whatever is present for you in the moment, no matter what you're doing. When you're sitting, sit. When you're shoveling gravel, shovel gravel. When you're brushing your teeth, brush your teeth. Taking a shit, take a shit. Driving in traffic, drive in traffic. Give your wholehearted attention to that. Dogen says something really radical in the next few lines of this first paragraph, which actually is quite the expression of Zen at a little bit of a angle from traditional Buddhist practice. Between aspiration, practice, enlightenment, and nirvana, there is not a moment's gap. Now, first, let's appreciate aspiration. Okay, it's very important in our Buddhist understanding. Is that moment of aspiration that brought you to practice, and it's different and unique for each of us. It could be a desperate moment of suffering. It could be an accumulation of small sufferings and something that just reaches a tipping point for you. It could be a curiosity to pursue this way. You know, you each have your own moment when it really turned you towards this practice. That's the beginning of the great road for Dogen. Yeah. There's until that happens, practice isn't happening according to Dogen. Right? So now we can feel into what counts as the aspiration, where it is all one. But the more important thing is for you to just look at yourself and recognize when your consciousness turned towards this pursuit of your own true nature, that you wanted to understand yourself, you wanted to deepen your consciousness, deepen your quality of presence. And that's the path that we're all on still right now. So right in that moment, aspiration, practice, enlightenment, and nirvana, we're all present, have been present every moment since then, and are present right now. So it's really at a profound level, there can be a kind of relief in this, to change anything. You don't have to progress. You don't have to improve yourself. You don't have to get anything. You really don't even have to drop anything away. We talk a lot about drop everything away, but yes, drop it away. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah. That's what you can say to yourself. Don't tell me what to do. One voice inside, drop it away. And the other one's like, don't tell me what to do. Always, of course. Yeah. I'm the least of your problems. It's your inner voice that's telling you what to do. That's your real problem. Don't put it on me. Yeah, and Dogen actually, you know, he gets at this quality. Oh, where is it? Oh, yeah. This being so, continuous practice is undivided, not forced by you or others. The power confirms you as well as others. It means your practice affects the entire earth, although not noticed by others or by you. It is so. Yeah, so I'm saying there's no gap. Dogen is saying there's no gap, right? But you may not notice that. I mean, we're practicing this, yeah, so probably you don't notice it completely. Maybe sometimes you notice it. Yeah, so oftentimes experiencing the gap. But that's okay. That's okay. Even not noticed by you. I believe everybody in this room is well past the point of no return with respect to your practice. Yeah. That's that's one thing to take care of, you know, early in your practice is turning away from the aspiration, you know, forgetting the power of it perhaps, or not honoring it. Yeah. But we call this the circle of the way because there's no beginning and no end after a certain point. But I do want to say this. There are cul-de-sacs. Yeah, there are cul-de-sacs. My teacher, Shishin Roshi, I remember him talking about cul-de-sacs a few times. It made me very mad. Like, damn it, am I in a cul-de-sac? It scared me to think that I could end up in a cul-de-sac. And I want to be very clear, you can end up in a cul-de-sac for years, for the rest of your life. Yes, you can. Now, the cul-de-sac is not having to do with the externals of your life. Oh, I'm going to go and spend a year or 5 doing my business work or doing family, and I'm not going to focus so much on my practice, my formal Zen practice. That's not a cul-de-sac. Most of you know I just spent 6 months doing family work. That was the most powerful practice of my life. That wasn't a cul-de-sac. So nothing externally defines a cul-de-sac. Is your inner orientation, how you are looking at your life. What's the quality of your attention? Is it wholehearted? Is it whole? Is it undivided? That's the practice. I want to bring in what Master Menzan says about thought emotion, because this will give a little bit more of the texture of wholehearted attention that I'm talking about. So the quality of practice. Okay. Menzan's not a well-known master. He comes from let's see, 1683 to 1769. So he's kind of right around Hakuin's time. He says, when through practice you know the reality of Zazen thoroughly, the frozen blockage of feeling thought will naturally melt away. If you think you have cut off illusory feeling thought instead of clarifying how feeling thought melts, the feeling thought will come up again, as though you have cut the stem of a blade of grass or the trunk of a tree and left the root alive. Feeling thought is the root of delusion, a stubborn attachment to a one-sided point of view formed by our own conditioned perceptions. I think most of you are doing thought. Yeah, it's the way that ideas and concepts and memories and experiential associations can get attached to sense experience. And they get frozen together. The association gets frozen together. Okay. So there can actually be a constellation of thoughts and feelings kind of stuck together. Yeah. Yeah, my teachers in the first draft of their book, The Great Heart Way, they called this a microcosmos. And I really like that term, but they ended up moving off of that term and they ended up calling it a fixed image. But I actually like the term microcosmos, or more so constellation, a constellated network of energy points associated with thought and memory and experiential associations around feeling and sense experience. Okay? Yeah. So we all have them. We all have them. And Menzan calls them frozen and he calls them blockages. All right? Now, okay, we have blockages. Yeah, this happens. But what happens from this? We're not in flow, right? We're frozen and blocked, which ends up causing distortion, if not suffering. Okay? It's kind of very simple in a way. So our wholehearted attention, right? It comes from, see, we have to access feeling thought as a whole. As a whole. What we tend to do is we take the feeling part and then we work with that, and then we push away the thought part, and then we notice that we've got to ignore that, or I'm going to let that go. But in the meantime, it's kind of still connected to a feeling. That part of the attention really has to take it all in. Easy to do. We really have to develop a samadhi, power of concentration, in order to kind of stay with the bigness of these constellated forces. And the better doorway in is through the feeling, okay? Because our mind has a way of just talky. Right? But staying with the feeling, it's more accessible, actually. Okay. That's continuous practice. Right? You don't turn away from everything, from anything. So I said at the beginning, turn inward. Turn inward, that everything is here for you within your inner experience. Everything is there. If you're bored during Zazen, I don't know what you're doing. You're not doing Zazen. Okay. Yeah, the quality of attention in Zazen is curious. I want to bring up some of these qualities of our attention. Okay, and I don't mean, I'm going to offer polarities, and I don't mean to completely demonize them, but I think it's valuable to appreciate these qualities of attention. Okay, loving versus, curious versus incurious, loving versus uncaring, trusting versus vigilant, meticulous versus gross, subtle versus surface. Okay. So, yeah, I don't want to make this a project, but I do want to appreciate the power of the qualities of curiosity and lovingness and trustingness and meticulousness and subtlety. You have this. You have this. Everybody can do this. Everybody can turn their mind towards whatever object of attention it may be, your breath, a koan, the one in Shikantaza, with these qualities. Okay. And then you find yourself being incurious or bored, or kind of surface and gross, maybe vigilant. You notice this vigilance, like I'm, on the lookout for something, right? This is a very safe space. One of the express purposes of Zendo is to diminish the vigilant mind, because it isn't needed, because it is a safe space. Okay, so just notice those qualities of attention, and maybe there's something there for you to enrich in your zazen. Attention transforms you and the object of your attention. Those of us who are in intimate relationships with other beings, other people, know that they are finely tuned to the quality of attention that you pay to them. And if you're honest and authentic, you'll realize that you are very attuned to the quality of attention that they're giving you. Right? So this goes for all beings. It goes for, I don't know if that's Ruben or Alma. It goes for the dogs. It goes to the critters. It goes to the plants. Because like Dogen says, this is all one way. There's no gap. There's no gap in these things that we think there's a gap in space, or I'm sorry, in time, this, then this, then this, then this, but actually there's no gap. It's continuous. And the same thing throughout space. No gap. Continuous. So much richer, I think, to talk this way than to say everything is one. Boring. That's boring. Yeah, it's yeah, gross. You know, that gross level. It's not subtle enough. Yeah, no, it's continuous. Okay. So there's only one thing happening right now. One thing happening. And give it your full attention. Okay, enjoy the rest of the session.